To discuss what we can expect from Barack Obama's speech tomorrow, I'm joined by Tom Switzer from the US Studies Centre at Sydney University. And Tom, we already know that the economy is going to dominate this speech. What is it that Barack Obama can say? Because the deficit is ballooning, unemployment is still high. What can he tell people?
Well, he can simply say, I'll reach out to Republicans in a way that Bill Clinton did after his shellacking in the 1996 congressional elections. I mean, already he's reached a bipartisan agreement with Republicans on tax cuts. Now, the conventional wisdom after his party's drubbing in the House and the Senate elections early last November was that he would not be able to do deals across the aisle, but he did just that. And interestingly enough, his approval rating has gone up significantly since he made that compromise deal with the Republicans. So I can see a lot of mileage in him reaching out to Republicans on issues like tax cuts and spending cuts.
And do you think this speech also effectively kicks off his re-election campaign, that it will be shaped in that context with one eye on the next election?
Yeah, quite conceivably. I can see a lot of analogies here with Bill Clinton. As I said, he got a real drubbing in the 1994 midterm elections. He lost not just the House but the Senate. The Republicans overplayed their hand. They moved too far to the right. They shut down the government and whatnot. And Bill Clinton capitalised on that and moved to the centre. I can see Obama doing that. In fact, he already is. I mentioned the tax cut pledge. He's already transcended partisan politics on the issue of the Tucson shooting in Arizona 2 weeks ago. He got brownie points from right and left on that issue. And he's also reaching out to business, which is quite interesting given his interventionist and expensive agenda over the last 2 years. He's pledged some reforms to regulations, and his new chief of staff has a good reputation on Wall Street, John Daly.
But he's started this effort at bipartisanship a couple of times now, had a couple of false starts. I mean, what's going to be different this time, do you think?
Well, the new political landscape in Washington, he has to deal with the Republicans in the House, and particularly the Speaker of the House, John Boehner. Even in the Senate, arguably the Republicans have a functional majority there because although they only have 47 Republicans in the Senate, there are several blue dog Democrats who are up for re-election in 2012, and they're going to run a fairly conservative line on a variety of issues, and President Obama has to deal with them as well.
Now, the atmospherics are also going to be different too, with the Republicans now in control of the House. I mean, we're not going to have the former Democratic Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, leading the cheer squad and bobbing up and telling people when to clap and to stand up. I mean, what sort of reception do you think he's going to get from this new look?
Look, I think the circumstances have changed a bit. Interestingly, perhaps in light of Tucson. I mean, now you have Republicans and Democrats making pledges to sit among each other in the House chamber. That's really rarely happens. It's usually been Republicans on one side and Democrats on the other side. So I think this is a sense of bipartisan to some extent, but we don't want to overplay the hand. Republicans will play hardball, as well they should. It's a democracy and a rugged democracy, and they're entitled to push their own interests just like the Democrats will.
Well, I understand that the family of the 9-year-old girl that was killed in that assassination attempt in Tucson is actually going to be there sitting next to the First Lady, Michelle Obama. Now, despite that sort of atmospheric, you don't think that that's going to signal that the President is going to tackle gun control, for example?
I don't think so. I don't think gun control is on the agenda in America. I mean, even a lot of Democrats, particularly from those southern states, are overwhelmingly opposed to gun control. There may be a case for some sort of restrictions on certain firearms. I mean, even Dick Cheney the other day flagged some saying that he was even open to the idea if he was still around. But in terms of hardcore gun law, the type of laws that John Howard legislated here in 1996, I don't think are going to be on the agenda in Washington.
Finally, Barack Obama is well known for rising to the occasion, making these big speeches. Do you think he's really got to pull out all stops on this one?
Oh, well, they say that at every State of the Union address. He'll give a very polished performance as per normal. I mean, the one thing that he does have on his side, just politically speaking, is history. I mean, since the Great Depression, only 2 presidents have not been re-elected, Jimmy Carter in 1980 and George H.W. Bush in 1992. His effort will be to reach out to Republicans, especially on the economy. Jobs, 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 that's the key thing, and of course also trying to rein in the debt.
Tom Switzer from the US Studies Centre, thank you very much for your time.